You're listening to REIA Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out REIARadio.com.
I think communication is key. I think talking about everything, whether it's a hard conversation or an easy conversation, it just has to be done, especially in the business world, especially if that's your business partner, whether you're romantically involved with your partner or not, or if it's just
your livelihood.
Yeah, like you just have to be on the same page. And I think starting out that way, saying, hey, we're going into business together, we're partners, like we have to have it all out on the table. We've got to have these hard conversations, and we have to agree before we make a decision together.
This episode is brought to you by Entrepreneur Addict.
If you feel like marketing changes every 5 minutes, you're not wrong. You're right. And that's why we built Entrepreneur Addict. We take the chaos out and give you one simple roadmap to follow. Video that converts, local search results that rank, and content that actually connects with people. And all of this brings real results. Get started now. Get the clarity instead of the overwhelm by going to entrepreneuraddict.com/REIA now.
Welcome to REIA Radio, episode 270 with Jay Kathol and Ashley Wells. Just so you guys know, when you guys were on episode 67, which I believe is the 5th highest viewed podcast we've ever had, at that point, we were talking about you closing a commercial strip mall, and Owen was talking about buying a Branson apartment building.
Oh, is that right?
To give you guys
wow, that was a while.
Yeah.
God, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
No.
Yeah.
When you guys said 3 years, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah. So top 5. So is the secret to that you guys just download the episodes over and over and over again, or just keep sending them to your mom?
We weren't going to tell you that, but yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly.
Gaming the system. I like it. Algorithm redevelopment. Yeah.
I think it helps that we always tell people what the top 10 is too, because when we do that, we see downloads on the top 10.
Now, to cater to our prima donna guests here, we are going earphone-less today, which is a little weird. So
that's one of two things we're doing today.
So if Ted gets a little pitchy, that is the reason why.
A couple things are different today, besides having you guys here, and it's Thanksgiving week. Cheers to having drinks.
Cheers.
And cheers to Denless. Denless is in the studio.
Back in the house.
Denless, make sure your mic's on so we know you're here today.
And Ashley is thinly disguising her cup of Kahlua there as pretend coffee. So this is going to get more fun as we go along.
It was kind of funny because as soon as Ashley said she didn't want to drink, Owen goes, "Oh, congratulations, Jay."
Expecting, not expecting.
Not expecting.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, we solved that mystery.
We just want to get this out right now because it would be fun if you have a kid, they get to hear it for the first time on the podcast.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do a post-mortem here. So last time we talked, you were about ready to close on a pretty big property, right? So tell us about the deal.
Sherwood Plaza. I can't believe it was 3 years ago.
All right, where was it? Give us the details.
And technically, you didn't even talk about it in the podcast. It was in the beginning credits that we like when Owen is like, he's like, we didn't even talk about that big deal that he was closing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was a commercial strip mall, 2703 East Canesville in Council Bluffs. So it's got anchored by Dollar General and then a print shop. It was Baumgart's at the time, but Baumgart's moved
Which
out.
is kind of like Menards, Tractor Supply.
It's Tractor Supply, probably is closer to.
Yeah,
It's
so
Minnesota-based or Wisconsin-based company. They moved out, filled that space pretty quickly. Like 26.
Were you freaking out, by the way? I did want to ask you that because Baumgart's, they occupied, I mean, think of, Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards. That's the type of size that we're talking about, right? So if I owned something like that, I'd be a little nervous when a lease came due. What was going through your mind at the time?
It was actually, so Baumgart's had moved out when I bought it. So I was wrong on that. So there was a karate shop and then a Echo Electric. So Echo was leasing it, and the karate shop had like 7,000 square feet of that building.
Just get an Asian massage parlor in there, and you got your set. So
I do have a little vacancy coming, so I'm trying to get creative with it.
Actually, a lot of the karate people moonlight as masseuses. They just come in there and do the chops on your back.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the chamber and asked. I think actually my banker at the time referred me to someone, Paula at the chamber.
Hazelwood.
Yeah, Paula Hazelwood with Advanced at Southwest Iowa.
Okay.
So
we're name dropping. Okay. Go ahead.
No, so Paula Hazelwood, she was great. That name dropped because that's how they shit their business. But she,
whenever Owen name drops, it doesn't ever work out.
No, it does not at all.
She said right away,
That's
she said, I might have someone for that. And she handled it right away. She sent me someone right away, and they said, yep, that's exactly what we're looking for. These guys are great. They have a print shop in there that's like it's run like just it's so clean and crisp. You walk in, they changed all the lighting, and it's like a fine oiled machine. I always compared like to the Breaking Bad. Remember Gus from Breaking Bad?
Oh yeah, Gus
How
Fring.
clean like the meth house was in there. Yeah, like you walk through, it's like what in the world? This place
The
is
meth lab.
This place is perfect.
It is a lab. It
Take
needs to
that
be
out of
clean.
here. Edit that one because I shouldn't say that. 'Cause these guys are great guys and they're like buy the book but they run such a perfect shop in there. And it's like it works out really well for them, which I'm glad because they're the perfect tenants.
Okay, let's talk about this. So, a lot of people that get started in real estate investing they'll typically start in single families. Maybe they start as wholesaling, flipping, get into rentals a little bit. Then typically the next step is going to be multifamily, and then maybe they explore commercial. That's generally, not always, but generally the kind of like iterations of growth and how you assemble a portfolio. Those type of properties are like big girl type properties. So when you have a tenant that says, all right, I want to lease this. How many square feet was it? Do you know roughly?
26,000.
26,000. That was the space that you had vacant.
Correct.
So they said, okay, we want to do this. What do you do next? So this was not a regular deal for you. You hadn't ever had any experience in this type of a size of a deal, right?
I had my attorney help with that.
Okay, so you engaged an attorney.
Yep.
And do you remember much about the lease? Like, how was it triple net where taxes, insurance, like all that stuff is rolled into it and you're pretty much hands off? Or did you do a gross lease?
Gross for 2 years, and then it escalates to triple net after year 3. They have a set base rent for 2 years. So if taxes, insurance change it, they're already in.
They're baked in, so no risk for them.
Correct. But they, I think next year actually goes to triple net. So it'll start adjusting next year.
Okay. So then the benefit to you as the property owner is you get to basically cover all of your costs regardless of what they are, right? Because it's built into the lease. Now, okay, talk to us about this. What did you have to do for tenant improvements? So a big store, a big unit like that, 26,000 square feet, that's a lot. Did you have to put in money, help them improve? Like how does that whole lease negotiation work? Were they asking for tenant improvements?
They didn't ask for much. Echo had it in pretty decent shape, but they did the lighting themselves. They did like the
hopefully they
area.
knew what they were doing, being an electrical contracting company.
Yeah.
No permits.
No permits pulled.
And it did look really good in there when Echo had it.
It looked good. These guys have it looking better. I split the electrical. So my dad had it set up. My dad owned it previously. I don't know if you knew that. I purchased from my dad and his partner.
Yep. So your dad was 50-50 partners with another person.
Correct.
And then he passed.
Yep.
And you ended up buying your mom out, right?
Yep.
That was part of the deal.
Yeah, my mom and then her partner, Mike. I bought them out of it.
And so you now own this huge thing. And so they left it in good shape. But like, what did you have to do did you have to throw money at it for tenant improvements?
There might have been a little bit. I think they handled most of it. I mean, the way Echo left it was in really good shape. I think I did some garage door work, overhead door work for their delivery stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe moved a little bit we like open up a hallway so the forklifts could fit through a little better.
Yeah,
But it was very minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did they have to put up like demising walls? Like, did they have to wall it off and create any office space or anything like that? Nothing crazy.
Echo had some office space that worked out for these guys. They soundproofed that little office area that Echo had. Their machines make a little bit more noise, but it was nothing major.
Yeah.
It was quick. They were in and out. They shared the space with Echo for like 3 weeks or so.
Okay, so I'm going to do some quick math here. So 26,000 square feet. Do you remember roughly what the price per square foot was?
Roughly $6 a foot.
That's low, right? Or is
yeah, for that size space, it's probably everything's low out there. All my rents are low, which I'm real competitive on rents. So, but it's definitely low.
Now
they renew that way.
Yeah. How long?
Yes.
Yeah. How long is a typical lease like that? Like this one, and these tenants that moved in.
They have a 5-year lease, so they're 2 years with fixed rate, then 3 years with adjustable.
And then is there like a renewal period?
Yeah, I think they have 2 5-year renewal options.
Okay, and rent escalations in there. So I know you're doing some math on your.
I'm a little bit low on that $6. It's a little bit more than that, but it's close.
Okay, so in general, do you guys think big property like that, a lot of square footage? So generally, it's a widely held belief that if you buy, let's say, multifamily. I know there's a lot of multifamily listeners out there. the more doors you buy, generally you can drive costs down and achieve economies of scale. So you can hire management. You could have on-site property managers, whereas a smaller property isn't going to support that. So your costs pass through is going to be more efficient at a larger level. So if I'm out in like, let's say I'm a business owner, I'm looking for a place to lease. Is it something to where a large property like that with tons of square footage is going to, my price per square foot is going to be less in general across the board? Or is that just, case by case?
Case by case. I mean, I think my rents, I look at similar buildings. I look at stuff like a building on Madison Avenue that are getting $21 a foot for like a normal, like for a 15 square foot bay. And I'm getting 12, 14 maybe. So I'm about half with a little more than half, but not much.
Okay. So now that you've owned this for 3 years, is that right?
I think right at
This podcast was recorded 10/27/22. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So a little over 3 years. Would you buy another one?
I'd love to. We're looking at
Really?
one. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
We looked at one. We made.
I didn't have any idea how you were going to answer that.
Right?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. That's kind of my goal. I learned my lesson on multifamily. Maybe learned it the hard way. And but I love the commercial stuff. I like it a lot better than dealing with tenants.
Smaller scale
dealing with
commercial.
How much meaning though does this specific property have? I mean, this is kind of like you've taken on a legacy of your father. I mean, this is your father's piece. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably something you're never going to give up, and you're probably putting a little bit more love into it than you would anything else. Is that fair to say?
Disclaimer: Ted likes to make people cry, so just be aware.
Because I'm a car guy, right?
Yeah.
And I bought one of my I call my dad, my stepdad. Hasn't passed away. My original dad did. I bought a Mustang from him, and that car means more to me than. So I had my dream Mustang. I had two at the time, and I got rid of that Saline, and I kept this one because it came from my dad, right? And it's something I care more about. I'm a real estate guy, I get it. And if I took over a property that was this, I think that would have more meaning, and and it's a legacy piece for me. So I think that was a fair question to ask.
100% fair. Legacy is a good thing. I think heritage is the word that was used when I was buying it a few years ago. I think that's what the guy I bought out said. This is your heritage. I wore a shirt that said heritage this morning when I worked out, which is ironic when I think about it. In my phone today, I've got a note to my attorney that changed my will. Talked to my son yesterday and said, because right now my will is written that if I die, everything gets sold and split up between my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm emailing my attorney today. It's written in my notes section that I don't want that one to be sold. So I pass. My kids are going to be stuck with it forever.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm changing it. My will is going to be written that way. And maybe when they're a certain age, they could decide they want to sell it. If they all unanimously decide, or or whatever.
How many kids do you have?
4 kids.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be complicated.
I mean, because I know that was a little deep, but I mean, I just felt like that would mean so much more to me.
Yeah.
I feel like every time we have Jay and Kathol on, you go deep, because last time you made Jay cry. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Yes, cry.
Jay cried.
Jay sounds so made up.
Jay is an empath. Okay.
No, I'm telling you, I have it on video, and I would share it with you. Jay cried last time because it was a very deep conversation.
I did not cry.
It's all good, man.
It was allergies. It was allergies.
It's a sweat. It's a sweat.
No,
hey, you know what? Women, when they get really excited, they cry and laugh at the same time, and they think that they can just go and faint off the tears, but it really does nothing.
Anything goes here, man. It's a safe space here at REIA Radio. Okay, so Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody had a gun to your head and they said recap your last 3 years, give it a go.
Oh boy.
The gun to the head is optional, but let's pretend you're under pressure.
I feel like we have done a lot in 3 years. So that's going to be hard to put it all into words. But, well, first of all, I have had my real estate license for 3.5.
Yeah, so you were fresh off the boat pretty much.
Yeah, fresh and just diving into flip houses and selling real estate and learning, which I don't feel like you ever stop learning in real estate. But getting into multifamily was new to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of an eye-opening experience, I would say. But I've learned to really appreciate and like multifamily a little bit more. We just bought a fourplex and a duplex and love it. Like, I absolutely love that.
Why is that? What's so okay? To give a little backstory, traditionally you've been involved in a lot of single family transactions as an agent, and have done some flips, rentals. So you've been exposed to investing in the single family residential space.
Yeah,
multifamily. Why do you love it? Like, what's different?
I think because it's different, it's new. I like a challenge. you know, something new to learn along the way. And I especially like the duplex just because it's just killer. It's awesome. The fourplex is really good too. Bluffs? They're both in Council Bluffs.
And are you managing them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just traditional rentals or Airbnbs? What are you guys doing?
So when we bought the duplex, the one side was an Airbnb, but we decided to rent it. So yeah, they're all rented right now. Really good tenants. We've met them all.
Do you tell me you're the owner or the property manager?
Owner. Right?
We're learning a lesson on that.
Do they have your cell phone numbers?
Now they do. Moving forward, we figure out we're going to have we figured out a system, but we're
a layer of insulation in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many rentals do you guys have?
Together we bought that. So we bought 8 units in last month.
Yeah.
8 doors, I guess.
Months, yeah.
Bought the fourplex, duplex, and 2 single families.
Yep.
And bought a couple flips that were probably 6 or 8 weeks ago.
We just bought 2 that we're going to hold.
Yeah,
we were going to flip, but we're
8 units together, and then you've got one. I think I have 5 or 6 single family, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now, Jay, you had more than that previously, right? You had some rentals that you sold off.
Yeah, to buy the apartment complex, and then I sold a handful to buy the apartments, and then I sold had that 100-block building. It was 8 apartments and a commercial unit. Sold that to buy Sherwood, and I sold my duplex to buy Sherwood. So
Sherwood's a commercial property.
Sherwood Plaza, yeah, Sherwood Plaza, the commercial property. So I sold some just to upgrade, and I sold probably 6 or 8 single families to buy the apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sold that. Obviously, we suckered some Omaha investor into buying that thing from us. So
Carter Lake, I heard.
Carter Lake guy.
Yeah. All right.
It was a Carter Lake guy.
Do you guys mind if we talk about this deal?
No,
I think this will be really interesting.
Yeah, I would love to talk
Here we
for
go.
people out there. Okay. So
I was hoping you'd bring it up.
So I want you guys to provide some color commentary here because I'm gonna take my perspective, my stab at describing this.
Gosh, prepare yourself.
So I'm going to say, fact check me here, Jay, but I want to say 5-6 years ago, you and I were talking about this 40-unit property in Council Bluffs, all brick, really cool property, good part of town, 2-bed, 2-bath units, 1,100 square feet ish per apartment. Really, really cool property. Garages, all that. It was built in the mid 60s. So that's the, black eye on this thing. But so we were watching it, and the person that owned it before, I'm going to keep this, above board here, but let's say they were not doing an optimal job of managing the property. Is that fair to say?
Very fair.
Okay. So
have you ever heard him keep it above board, by the way?
Yeah,
no. I don't know what that
proper,
means. It's a soundbite, Ted.
Everybody listening is like, what is he talking about?
This is cueing the algorithm. So you tell me about this property, and you're like, yeah, here's this deal. And the funny part is, when we first started talking, I bet if we went back through our text threads, the price has probably doubled, if not more, since we originally started talking about it, about what you could potentially buy it for.
Unfortunately, my text delete after a year because my phone's like, I have like the iPhone 4, so
yeah,
I don't have the old. Yeah, so I don't have my old text
You
messages.
can't
But
update that thing anymore.
I think it's like a 10.
iPhone 4.
I don't know.
I
so
actually
old.
had an iPhone 4. At one time, I was an Apple guy.
I just went from Apple 11 to the 17 last week. So
Yeah, I'm about the same way. I'm going to do the same for Christmas. I'm going to get myself a phone that works.
we did a full family upgrade.
They're like, usually you get the software update notification, and his just said, bro, are you okay?
Just so you know, they gave me $1,000 for my Apple 11.
Did they really?
Yeah, for the trade. And I'm like,
Yeah, because it's an antique now.
ancient.
They're like, you can sell these on eBay for
It's
like
like $4,000.
They're like,
New
we're
phone,
putting
$200,
this.
done.
We're putting this in the museum.
Yeah.
All right, you're getting us off topic.
Sorry, I do that.
Okay, so we're watching this property. You obviously have an in with the person that owns it. You're communicating as best you can with an erratic person. If they listen to this, don't kill us.
He's great too. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Good save. Good
Yeah,
save.
he's great.
So the if you're watching video, you're going to understand this more. So at some point, it became apparent that the expectation that the seller had on price and what the reality was a mismatch, right?
Correct.
And so they started having bigger companies sniffing around saying, hey, would you sell your property? And then they got the idea, oh, this is worth a lot more. Maybe I should ask more. And so on and so on. Long story short, you end up
It's
out of the
never
blue.
short, just so you know.
Yeah, with me involved. This isn't. Hey, we have a podcast here, Ted. We're trying to run. Okay, viewers want content. So you arrive at this deal with. How did this all happen? First of all, so this was kind of a fast and furious story with a lot of different left turns.
So I got the call. We're walking into the sheriff's office. It was a Friday morning. I get a call. Said, would you be interested in multifamily? My property manager calls me. I said, for sure. What do you have?
Wait, why were you walking in the sheriff's office? Was it a warrant?
I was getting Ashley out of jail again.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yep,
yeah.
that checks out.
Sheriff's sales. So
No
walking into the sheriff's office, and I get a call. I said, I'm 100% interested. I'll call you back in an hour or so. I know the property. I'm interested for sure. Price seemed a little bit higher. I probably doubled from when we first talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the seller wants to sell it. He went on a ski trip. He's been doing psychedelics for like a month and decided he no longer wants to own any commercial properties or multifamily properties.
As how every good story starts.
Yeah. So he had a deep like reckoning, and he just said, I don't want to own these things anymore. I want to get rid of them. I'm like, it sounds great. There's one other guy interested in buying them. And so we looked at it like, it's perfect. We buy stuff without home inspections. We buy stuff like as is all the time.
Mm-hmm.
40 units, 9 are vacant. I'm like, that's probably going to be like a 6 or 8 week little project. We can fix it up pretty quick. And you know the rest of the story, obviously. Everything that could possibly, like Murphy's Law, everything go wrong, went wrong.
Yeah.
The chiller went bad. The plumbing was
A year
horrible.
later, you're still working on it.
Yeah.
We lasted a year before we finally found out.
Sounds like one of my rehabs.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I'm like, when is this going to end?
Yeah, it was every single thing. The boiler, the chiller, the plumbing, every single thing that went wrong.
So this is actually great. So you guys had experience in single family. I mean, Jay, you've been doing this for 25 plus years, real estate,
Not quite
right?
25, yeah.
And Ashley, you have been in and around real estate for a long time.
Long time, yep.
And, have had your agent's license for 3.5 years
Yep.
now. Like, what did you miss? If somebody's walking through a property like this and they think single family, I know it like the back of my hand. I'm really comfortable. Small multifamily, I can operate there. You walk through it. You saw 40 units. Looks like a good deal. Where was the miss?
Do you want to take a stab at it?
Go for it.
Hot potato.
Yeah.
So the chiller was a big one.
Okay.
We
a
had
chiller,
someone look at it.
explain for those that maybe aren't familiar with
Central
larger.
cooling system. It's a huge dinosaur looking thing that's
Yep.
Looks like a robot. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a tank. It's just sitting outside, and it was new. It was like 2 years. It was refurbished. So it's a couple years old. Wasn't under warranty, but we had someone look at it. They said it's probably a $7,000 fix. Might have been less than that. It was a small fix, whatever it was. In the big scheme of things, that's not a big deal. We can handle that easily. And that first summer, I think we closed maybe in June, give or take a little bit, and it started tripping out. So we would go up there and reset it.
Tripping meaning the electrical wasn't.
It was just shut off. So there's no AC for anyone. They're running window ACs. So we'd reset it. Well, it turned out all the coils were bad, so it needed replaced. So it was a $160,000 deal.
Yep.
Give or take a little bit.
Yep. 155 taxes, all that. Yeah.
After putting a down payment down and doing the rehabs, there was 10 vacant units. We wanted to do some other stuff. We wanted to do landscaping and beautification stuff.
Ain't gonna happen.
No, we never got to it. We ran out of money so fast.
Yeah, we started it and didn't finish that part.
And then the 9 vacant units, they said there's a little bit of sewer backup.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's 3, but I'm just talking out loud here, but it was 3 stories on that backside. And from the top unit down, the copper pipes, it looked like a cheese grater coming down with bigger holes than that. When Macintosh Plumbing is pulling the pipes out of the walls, there's just holes in them. So every time the third unit flushed, it went to the second unit down to the basement unit.
Oh, jeez.
So it was,
waterfall.
Yeah. So it wasn't like a small little fix trying to just like fix up a unit that I thought would take a week per unit. We have 9 vacancies, 9 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were tearing walls out, and then you'd have to move tenants around because you're tearing the walls out. They don't have a bathroom to use, and they have 2 bathrooms per unit. So we're moving tenants to a different unit. We just couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of musical chairs with the tenants while you're trying to do triage on a bunch of unexpected capital expenses. And
then you have the overall, I don't know how to say it, just the environment at the apartment complex was so rotten when we got it. Homeless people were living in the basement. We don't think that's going to be a problem. Think that's an easy fix. It's not an easy fix. Turning tenants over that are absolute. We have tenants stealing from us while we're doing the projects. And we have just horrible tenants in the property. Mm-hmm. So it's flipping it and trying to stabilize it and flip the tenants. It's tough. The reputation of the place was bad, which we didn't realize that. I had no idea that was like negative connotations to that place because it's a great location, a great building. At one time, it was the top place. It was a senior living facility.
Yep.
It was one of the very, very top units in Council Bluffs or buildings in Council Bluffs. So it took a long time. And a year after, we just weren't there.
And just trying to get contractors to show up and do the work was half of it.
Now, let's talk about this. So you have single family, that's been kind of your wheelhouse, small multis, you've done duplexes and kind of smaller stuff. You jump into something like this, you mentioned contractors were hard to get to show up. Now that you kind of look back on this, is there a different class of contractor that you think is appropriate for buying a mid-sized multifamily like that versus single family stuff?
Do you go to the most expensive person, or
Yeah,
do you go to the
like
person that's like a
if you
friend?
had to do it all over again, wind back the clock here, we're a year and a half ago and you guys are getting ready to dive into this. What could you have done differently?
We had a really expensive contractor working on the apartments, and then he'd be there for like a week, and then we wouldn't see him for the next week because he had other projects he was working on.
Mm-hmm.
So just like I said, trying to get him in there, but he also was a lot of money. He cost us a lot of money. His finishes were great. He did great.
Quality was good.
Quality work.
Like the on-site,
Yes.
like him being present was not good.
But money is time, and we needed somebody there like 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And we were lucky if we got 20 hours a week out of him because he, like I said, he had other projects going.
He was a handyman. He wasn't like we needed a big general to come in and say,
yeah,
we can handle all of this. We've been through this before. We know what it's going to take.
and just knock it out.
It's going to take this much. It will be done in 3 months. We needed like a big contractor to come in and say, you've missed a few things here.
Yeah.
We're finding things you didn't see. And it's going to be 3 times what we expect it's going to be, but we're going to knock it out quickly. Then you can get them rented and start back over.
Isn't that like the biggest issue though? Like, I know you've had contractor issues.
Yeah.
Like I've hired contractors I thought were the best in the world. They might have been amazing on one or two, and then they flaked and stole money or didn't show up, or and I can literally say that my biggest failures come from bad contractors.
Here's the thing about that though. I would say in my experience doing this, so I probably not even arguably if you talk to my wife, but I will generally want to go with something that is known to be the best or at least close to it, and knowing that I'm not going to have any problems. So I buy a problem solving thing. So when you buy a product, online, or let's say it's in person or whatever, you buy something that is known to be premium product, you know what you're getting, right? You're expecting what you're getting.
Yep.
And when that translates to a person, so if you're paying somebody to do a service as opposed to a product, you have somebody's reputation, you have like their premium that you're paying for it is what it is, right? Mm-hmm. And you say, I know what I know about you, and based on that, I'm going to hire you. I'm okay with paying a little more because you're going to get done, better and faster, even though I'm willing to pay more. But they're people.
Yeah.
Right. So things change. Somebody could be all of a sudden going through a divorce or, a drug habit, or stuff changes. You have no idea what's going on in their personal life generally. That's the wild card when you're hiring somebody to handle something.
We could just compare stories on what the story is that we had from the contractor, and that'd be a really good podcast.
Yeah, it actually would.
Horror stories.
Yeah.
No, just like what your contractor's excuse was.
So, I mean,
Do it around Halloween time, just like spooky music in the background. And
Mine have generally revolved around crazy girlfriends, ex-wife, divorce. And then also divorce, and crazy new girlfriend was psycho and tried murdering my wife. I mean,
I want to hear
crazy
these. I can't
ex-girlfriend
wait.
broke into the Airbnbs to try to get to the unit to find him because she had my master code. I mean, those were some of my fun stories.
Wow.
That does need to be a
Sorry,
podcast.
Jessica. So, like, if you had to give yourself a grade on the due diligence you did on that deal, what would it be?
F.
Straight
Really?
up. Like, F, it means that you really effed it up and didn't make any money.
Okay, a C minus.
And by the way, I do want to shout out Ashley because she actually was an educator. She was my oldest daughter's Montessori teacher for a time.
Yeah.
I met her before Jay and her were even together.
Yeah.
So I got kicked out of Montessori.
This is
did? What'd you
surprising
do?
no
Yes,
one.
yeah.
What'd you do?
I was a biter.
Biter. You bit kids.
Yes.
as a kid or as a parent?
That was not what I was expecting
As a kid.
at all.
And I remember my mom telling me there's so many places I had to go because I'd bite everybody.
All of these episodes that we've ever done, and that you never ceased to
Montessori
amaze
never
me,
came
Ted.
up. I didn't know.
I was a biter.
One thing I never knew about Ted.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And it's still fun.
That totally came off the rails. But okay, so we'll grade on a curve here and call it a C minus.
He's so good at bringing it back, isn't he?
Yes.
That's
It's like
debatable.
bring this
But
train back
so
around.
C minus. What would you do differently? So this is a little bit bigger animal. So 40 units, you got 40 boxes of people, and you're inheriting
40
a property
boxes of people is what to think about it.
You're inheriting a property that clearly was mismanaged. It had a bad reputation. You got 9 out of 40 vacant units. I'm not good at math, but 75% vacancy.
Yeah,
that's not great.
Yeah. Well,
so you saw it as a good opportunity to buy
I think it's more like 76.5 or something like that, just so you know.
Ted, we all know that you just typed that into ChatGPT. But anyway, so you bought this and you said, okay, what were you seeing that if you could, go back and change things, you maybe wouldn't have done? Like, what was the attractiveness of this property?
Well, speaking for myself, but I think we both saw the potential in it because it's an amazing property. It's all brick. And I think the potential was there. Like we just we're like, hey, we can get this turned around. We can get these, units ready. It's not going to take that long. And then when we got in there, it just took that much longer. It was just week after week. And then it became months. And then we were like starting to panic because we're like, oh my gosh, we don't really have the right contractors to come in here and do this. And then, like I said, just having them show up was half of it. But
yeah, you're like, yay, they're here.
Yeah, completely.
Even though you hired them for it. It's
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, are they going to be here this week? Oh, or are they not? So it was just, yeah.
But you learned so much.
It was so stressful.
Like, what was the big takeaways? Like, what is it that you did that you screwed up in that you're not going to do in the next one?
Definitely getting bids before just saying yes. Because I was like, yep, let's do this. Let's go. Like, I was just full force. Like, let's get this done.
Yeah.
And then just doing a real inspection, not just our own like we did, but just have somebody that knows what they're doing in commercial property to come in and be like, hey.
Yeah, for sure.
What about a contractor inspection? That's really popular in our industry.
Yeah.
Like you have your trusted contractor. Hopefully it's that person. They go through and do an inspection. Do you think that is a safe bet? Or do you think hiring an actual inspector is the best good way to go?
Oh,
I could even call my plumber I found out later in the game, he'd been up there multiple times for plumbing issues. He would have known way more. The plumbing inspection, electrical inspection,
yeah,
and maybe a second opinion on the boiler and the chiller. And then we paid retail for it. We paid full price for it, like in decent condition. It just wasn't in the condition we thought it was.
Would you buy another place with a boiler?
No way. We said that. We're like, never.
But I probably will.
Yeah.
No, I will never do that until next time.
You're moving into new things now, though.
Depends on how
commercial
old it is.
bays and
if it's
contractor
new,
bays.
maybe.
My biggest takeaway, I mean, you said like, what would I learn? What was my lesson from it? A buddy of mine from Louisiana came up. We talked about it over the summer of College World Series. And
4th of July, I think.
Don't always have to hit home runs. Like, be happy with some singles and doubles and just some base hits. Don't always have to hit. Like, I thought we needed one more big one, something similar to the commercial property that I have, something we can just get, pay off in 10, 15 years and you don't have to have one big home run. Just be settled for like some singles and doubles and be happy with that. And then enough singles and doubles, you can win.
It's a lot to take on. I mean, that's 40 doors.
This exact property is available for sale right now. You have an in on it. Would you buy it? It's next door. It's an exact twin. And you can buy it today at the same price.
We had a similar opportunity last week.
Not at that price.
Last week. We had a similar opportunity last week to go in on multifamily. And I was all in. We kind of debated it back and forth.
And was it 60 or 80?
Big multifamily. And we just said, and I'm like all in. I'm right away. I'm like, let's go. I called Ashley. He goes, didn't you learn a lesson? Like, maybe we don't have to do this. So I'm like, I guess I'll go by myself. And I hold on a second. Like we just said, like last week, we're doing things together. We're going to partner together. We're going to move forward together on this stuff. And so it was hard for me because I went to bed angry and I was like, I want to do this. This could potentially be something big, but the lesson I guess I learned is I need to like maybe just slow down before just committing to the huge projects. And
that's hard.
It is hard
because like my wife has no involvement in anything I do in my business, but ever since I had this bad business partner and lost a substantial amount of money this year, all of a sudden she's involved. And I'm buying this little car wash right now, not even a big deal. But of course, I had to like sell her on this thing. And she's like, are you sure we need to do this? Do we really need to do this? Is this worth the time? And then I remember I was going to bed angry about it. I'm like, she's a school teacher. She's not in my business. Like she has no idea what I'm doing. And as long as the bills are getting paid, let's just keep going here.
Yeah.
But the conversation did open up my eyes and my mind to the different aspects of it. But it's also, as the main breadwinner of the family, I'm just like, why are you questioning me?
Yeah. That would be tough.
And I see your point there, but it also opens your eyes up in those conversations, and those conversations do suck. You know, with your significant other or your business. I don't have any business partners right now, but you know, and I remember my last business partner was just a complete yes man. Everything was like yes, and absolutely no questioning me. And then I was also like,
I don't think you're talking about me.
No,
Nolan.
No, it was with the properties. And I was like, why aren't you challenging me? He's like, oh yeah, whatever you want to buy, just buy.
Yeah.
In that open, although I was making right decisions, I also wanted some challenge or questions. I didn't like the full open checkbook, no questions asked.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say, Jay, that you're the gas and Ashley, you're the brakes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how generally people end up that way?
He's really good at bringing deals. Like he's really good at like finding off market deals, and people come to him all of the time.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And
I know
like,
because generally he'll like talk to me and he'll be like, what do you think about this? Should we like, what about this business? And like all the time.
So then he'll bring stuff and he'll be like, hey, what about this? And what do you think about this and this? And of course I'm always like, well, what if, you know, I'm like more of the, I hate to say it, negative, but like more reality.
You have to have that.
Yeah. Where he's like, yeah, but what if it goes well and then we're looking at this and this and this. So I think it's a good mix, because then it makes me look at the positive and also him like what could happen.
Yeah.
So we both bring different things to the table, and then it's like, oh, okay. And then we kind of find that common ground, and then we make a
Why don't we
good
just throw all
decision.
money in crypto for a couple of months? It's hot
XRP.
right now.
You know, reason I love
Don't even start talking about that.
you know, but besides the fact that you guys followed Brandon Turner on the last time you guys were on the podcast, I do think that I don't think that these conversations are happening on this podcast. We don't interview partners together. We don't interview partners or anybody that's in a relationship together. You know, these conversations don't happen. And I think that this is really interesting to listen to, because there's so many people that either are in partners with their spouse or their business partner, or they're just having those challenges. Like, what advice would you guys give other couples that are either hands-on together or not?
I would say, I mean, obviously trust. You got to trust your partner. And I have tremendous trust in him, and like in everything.
So
and
what happens when that trust, like what happens when something goes bad?
And
Like
you know,
I had a partnership. We had multiple properties together. The partnership like went south. It costed me lots of money.
Yeah.
And then I lost that trust.
I mean, there's going to be things that happen. There's going to be things that go wrong. Not every investment is a great investment, but I also feel like as long as you can stay on the same page and know that maybe other partners' intentions were good and they didn't mean anything ill will or anything like that, I would say if you can just talk it out, work it out, and move forward from that, I would say it would be easier.
What about in a situation where it's like Owen and I, our significant others, have nothing to do with our businesses, but they hear everything.
Right.
And then if there's anything negative, everything gets questioned. Would you agree with that? You know, like, oh, why are you doing that? Like, what advice would you give a couple on the female side to working with your spouse, but you don't want to hide it? You have to talk about it. Like, I always want to just tell my wife absolutely everything, and that's the wrong answer. But I need to have that level.
Not always.
I need to have some communication there, and I'm never going to lie to her about what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't like want to tell her everything. But she has the right to know everything,
Right.
and that's the weird balance. Like, any advice?
That's a good question and a tough answer. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about this.
I think communication is key. I think talking about everything, whether it's a hard conversation or an easy conversation, it just has to be done, especially in the business world, especially if that's your business partner, whether you're romantically involved with your partner or not, or if it's just
your livelihood.
Yeah. Like, you just have to be on the same page. And I think starting out that way, saying, hey, we're going into business together, we're partners, like, we have to have it all out on the table. We've got to have these hard conversations, and we have to agree before we make a decision together. And I think as long as, it may not always be an easy decision, but I think as long as you're talking it through, I think you're going to be okay. And you are going to have hard times. You are going to lose, you know, not everything's going to be roses all the time. I mean,
when things come to you, they look like an opportunity. And when you execute on those things, a lot of times you end up finding what the aftermath is, and it's a harsh reality.
Yeah.
So the opportunity doesn't always equal what you're left with
Yes.
after the dust settles.
Yep.
those are hard things to unpack, because I think it's one of those things where you can describe something to someone, and when you get pitched on a deal, it's never the bad stuff.
Right.
You don't go into it
That was
saying,
good.
oh, there's all these bad things that could happen. It's generally like, oh, look at the potential here. And then you get so focused on that you discount all the other reasons why you maybe either shouldn't do it or things you could consider.
Right.
And it's hard to suss that out and make it make sense on a balance sheet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you have somebody that you have a vested interest outside of work involved in those conversations, it gets real fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's easier, I think, when you have a layer of separation between, this is just me talking, but Ted, I'm curious about you. Like, if you have to go out and operate on a day-to-day basis and you have opportunities and things that are coming at you daily where you have to make decisions, you're not going to involve your spouse or significant other in those conversations, right? It's just day-to-day. It's just like they had a job, you had a job. You're not going to come home and talk to them and be like, hey, I had a meeting with HR today. Like, what should I, like, it's just part and parcel of what you do.
Yeah.
We do a thing at the dinner table every night. We do dinner table every night with the family, and everybody, and that's just standard. It doesn't even matter if we have an hour before I got to go coach sports. We have dinner at the dinner table.
Yeah.
And we always talk about our wins of the day. So a lot of times, a lot of those conversations will come up in the wins.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, the only conversation I'm generally going to have with my wife is, oh, I'm selling an asset. I'm buying an asset. We're starting a new LLC. And those big ones are the.
So you give a kind of the highlights, or not the highlights, but the general news updates of kind of what happened, kind of at a high level.
Yeah, and then the
6 o'clock news, not 9 o'clock news.
Yeah, and I feel like when it comes to my spouse, she doesn't need to know the day-to-day operations. She just needs to know the things that are going to change our lives.
Yeah.
So hey,
Yeah.
I bought into this company. I've been trying to buy into some little companies just to get some mailbox money, and nothing huge, but that's ultimately the goal. I'm trying to get out of being a landlord. I'm trying to get into things that I more business situations. And so I've been investing some different things, and she knows about those.
Just call it crypto. We know it's crypto.
It's not crypto. I probably would fail at that. I bought my first stocks in the last year or so. My Robinhood account. It's been really fun.
This is just endlessly fascinating, like the iterations of, relationships and how you talk about things. And I think if I could take anything away from what you guys just mentioned and my experience, it would be like communication and how you approach it with your significant other, your spouse, your business partner is paramount to succeeding in your business plan. So generally when you go into a property purchase, you have a plan. Like, let's say it's a single family and you're just like, the plan is to flip it. That's the plan. But what if it doesn't go according to plan? Could you refinance it and keep it as a rental? What happens if you buy a multifamily that you weren't expecting a whole bunch of problems with? How do you adapt and react to that? But I think, the message here is too, like, you guys have been doing this a long time. I know, Ashley, yours hasn't been like a linear thing because you've had some different, situations, but you've been in real estate in some way, shape, or form for a long time.
Yeah, over 20
Jay,
years. Yeah.
you've been 25? Is that the right number?
Started 03, so 22.
Yeah, 22 years. So you've seen market cycles, you've seen ebbs and flow, and what works, what doesn't. But maybe this would be a good time to kind of like put a bow on the whole like 40 unit situation. So if we could talk about maybe I think this would be helpful for people that don't know the whole story, if you guys are okay with talking about it.
For sure.
So Jay approached me after, dangling this property in front of me for about 5 years. Then I find out he actually bought it himself. When he was like, "Hey, man, you should really think about buying this," and I'm like, "Okay, how can I?" And I
think this came in on a podcast 3 or 4 times.
There's no interaction with the seller. Like, he just wasn't really getting anywhere with them. And then all of a sudden, I find out he buys this 40 unit, and I'm like, "Bro!" But I was super happy for you.
It was like 5 years later.
He was so mad at you.
Yeah.
I was not. That is not true at all. I was really happy, but I had to throw some shade because I'm sarcastic.
I'm playing.
But you took the deal down, and then a few months later, after kind of the aftermath of like the whole plumbing and vacancy situation and finding out like a lot of the stuff that you didn't know at the time, you had come to me and like your initial thought, let's talk about that for a minute. So you bit off seemingly more than you could chew with
Definitely.
the
Not
whole
seemingly,
project.
100% we did.
Yeah,
We
so-
were overheads.
You had money going out the door that you were not planning on, a whole bunch of huge plumbing expenses, the chiller, now boiler.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't on your radar at the time, but it
Yeah.
definitely was on mine recently. And
Decks. It was everything.
Yeah.
It was every single part of that property was
Yep.
an issue.
so ton of deferred maintenance. And let's kind of wind up the rest of the story with this. So you called me and you were like, hey, this is how I remember it. You were like, don't know if you'd be interested, but we bought this property that and like, would you be interested in coming into the deal somehow? What was going through your mind at the time? I've never had the chance to ask you this.
Like, please do it.
Dang it, I paid too much.
Similar a bit. We called you first and said, do you want to buy it? I know you liked it at one time, but you still wouldn't be interested in buying it. Here's what's probably worked. We did a bunch of work on it already. Here's what's wrong with it. And then you said, I'd probably buy it with this group of guys. So you guys came and looked at it, underwrote it, and said, it just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
So, okay, that I understand. And then I called one guy at Heartland Properties that had a buyer before and said, do you have anyone who'd be interested? He said, yep, I think I've got a guy for it. Looked at it and said, just doesn't quite make sense.
Who you knew the guy, right?
Yeah. Definitely knew the guy. So, and you had messaged and said, I still like that property. I'd like to own it. I'd like to somehow be involved with it. And then somehow through social media, when Ryan Rogers posted something about, I'm looking for a bigger deal, something, I said, well, you should look at this thing.
Mm-hmm.
He said, right up my alley. It's exactly what I'm looking for. So he came in, just bought his way in through repairs. Then I think we reconnected through, like, I think Ashley wants to get out, or I think we want to get out of it. Would you be interested in just buying in something similar like that? I don't.
Yeah.
Just played out something I think it was like buying for a certain percentage. You don't have to put a big down payment down. The bank we're at would let you assume the loan or just take over the loan.
Yep.
So a little bit less money out of pocket to start, just finish the repairs, which was the chiller and the vacant units at that time.
Yep.
So a lot of stuff's been done, but needs a lot more to finish it. And then the boiler went out.
Now, I do want to highlight some cool things you did with this project. You got bank financing at a bank that, in a small town bank,
Yep.
that we both know and love. When we first started talking about this, I do want to highlight the fact that you guys assembled a pretty good, I mean, for what it was, you were able to get the local bank that you and I both bank at, what was the down? Like, what did you have to put down?
15%.
Okay, so 15% down
really?
on a
Yeah.
huge multifamily. Well,
Yeah.
40 unit multifamily, and we're talking
3.4.
3.4 million.
Yep.
And so 15% down. That's pretty stout. I mean, that's a really good assemblage of a project.
Did they pay you commission yet?
Not yet,
Okay.
because I haven't mentioned their name yet.
Yeah.
Ted.
Yeah.
All the radio edits later. And you, so 15% down. And then you also did something really cool with this, which was what was right next door to this.
So it was listed for a while. There was a 6.5 acre, 6.25 acre parcel that the owner of this property had owned. It had been listed for a little while, but not marketed really heavily.
Just land?
Just land,
Yep. Bare land.
bare land. So we bought that, I think, for 2.25 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the seller to carry back 65,000 or give or take a little bit.
Bought for 225,000, 6
Yeah.
acres.
Yeah. Really, really nice
What are you
parcel.
doing with it?
We're going to develop it. So we had a plan. We met with NeighborWorks in Council Bluffs. We were going to develop it. We had it all planned out. They were going to finance all of it. They had the funding, I believe.
It was going to be townhomes, I believe, was
Yep.
going to be the main idea.
LMI, low to moderate income housing. They would do, I think we'd have 18 units. They would take 10 of them. We'd get 8 lots for free and build market rate housing. Would have been a fantastic project. I was excited about it.
The infrastructure was going to be paid through grants.
Yeah, through grant
Mhm.
money. So they had all the financing for all, like 1.4, 1.6 in grant money they thought they had secured. And we worked on that for over a year or right at a year. So I kind of felt bad like walking away from it. But so we purchased that land, and that was the plan for that land. So we hated to walk away from that. So when we sold it to you, obviously you guys bought that land as part of the deal, which that was hard to give that up because that was there was a lot of equity in that.
Yeah, he stuck us with a house in Council Bluffs.
And
on the west.
that's when you're developing now.
No.
Okay.
Different
Potentially.
one. You keep up, Ted. He's only been
Well,
with
you
me
had
for 260
You had
episodes.
business plans out here last week. I didn't know. I thought
Different
those
property. Different property.
Wait, hey, fair enough. That I thought that.
But no, but I do want to highlight, this is cool. So you were able to buy a 40 unit multifamily for $3.4 million and put 15% down. And then you also got the adjoining parcel that was 6 acres, which prime development land, great spot. Like, it makes a ton of sense to buy that as part of that deal, because then you could sell it to a developer, you build on it, you could do a whole, you could JV with a neighbor, NeighborWorks or whoever it was. So you had a ton of options. I really liked that part of the deal. And because of that, we were willing to accept, I was willing to accept the fact that I thought it might have been overpaying for what you paid for it. But this is the cool part of this story, I think. So you guys were, just to kind of, solidify this, you were motivated sellers. You had a ton of money going out the door. You had a bunch of vacancies, huge CapEx items like the chiller, now the boiler, all the plumbing, the vacant units, all needed remodeled, common areas, landscaping, you name it, right? There's a whole bunch of money. So when you approached me about it, I was like, no. I think I told you no 3 times. And then the last time you came around, you're like, well, Ryan's a part of this deal, and maybe you want to get involved. And Ryan and I didn't really, I knew him socially. Like, I'd met him a bunch of times. I knew, we knew who each other were.
Do I know Ryan?
You do not.
Okay.
But he is a baller. And, he's in. He really would hope to have someone, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think said he was hoping to have somebody that had larger multifamily experience.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then so you kind of threw it over to me, and I said, okay, we'll talk about it. And so we all met, and then there was a lot of hills and valleys to this story. But what ended up happening was we actually ended up buying your LLC.
Yeah.
And not the property.
Correct. Yeah.
More or less. Right.
100%.
So
That's exactly
this is not something that I had a ton of experience in, but you guys had that property, the land, and one other parcel or one other property, in your entity. And so we ended up buying the shares of the entity versus buying just the property as a transaction.
And the benefit of doing that is you can maintain the notes that are already in place with the entity.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Bingo.
So we were able to step in, and this was with full knowledge of the bank where the note was at, because they're a small town. They would find out anyway, because they were probably listening to this right now. But we ended up buying the LLC, and the benefit to doing that. So this is I'm going to give an impromptu for today's Golden Nugget
on the main podcast.
Yeah, I know. This is a one-off. So here is the Golden Nugget for today. And I'll do another one for you listeners out there that love Golden Nuggets. You can buy
another one today, or you're talking about? Are you talking about
Monday?
Well, today's Wednesday that they're listening to this,
and next
Monday.
Ted.
Yes.
Also,
Okay.
it's a good, Ted. Don't make it weird. So today's Golden Nugget is you can buy an LLC from someone and bypass a lot of the hassle that you're going to have with dealing with a bank and getting underwriting, because you are now stepping in as the owner of that LLC. They already have the loan issued to the LLC. And this applies to not just banks, but also private notes. So in this case, you had a seller carry. And the issue here is, and hopefully he doesn't listen to this podcast, but the person that owned the land previously said, hey, if, because I think you had asked them, hey, we might have a buyer for this property. Would you be willing to hold the note? And they're like, well, actually, we'd like that money back.
Yeah.
I don't think the seller said that. I think his agents, I'm negotiating through his agents. I don't think he really cares, but I think his agent's like, he knows me because he's good friends with my dad.
Yep.
But so he knew who I was. So I think I don't think his agent even reached out to him.
So
he's an older fellow.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good soundbite. But as the buyer, we were like, well, this is like $130,000. We're going to have to come up with out of pocket. This is bare land. Most banks are only going to finance at best 50% of the value of the land. So having that seller carry note in there was pretty key to this whole thing. So we ended up buying the LLC. So everything stayed in place. We took over the bank account as the signer, all that stuff. And then we just continue making payments out of that bank account as our LLC name.
And we're still responsible for that personal note. We're still responsible for the carryback. Personally, Ashley and I are. But you guys are responsible to it for us, to them. So I feel like it's covered there.
Do you?
I don't know.
So
Not that you're saying this out loud.
Ashley started scratching her head like,
no, actually, I love this conversation.
You look a little worried there.
This is real world, guys, on how subject to deals get done and creative finance. So this is an actual, and now the thing is, obviously, I've known both of you for a long time, and we have mutual trust. So there's like we have a track record together. Jay, you went to the World Series with me on my 40th birthday.
Saw Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, we did see Johnny Cueto, a whole bunch of them. And we, there's a long story there, but we,
because I'm lost.
Yeah, I will tell that another time. But anyway, we have a backstory. We're friends first. And, now, well, I guess,
He has
business
to
transaction
say that now that, you're on the
Just to
hook.
touch on that note, I think you guys did talk about it 3 years ago on the podcast.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if we brought Johnny Cueto, but we brought up maybe going to that bar and being in a situation we were in.
That's what it was.
That was interesting. But real world so like we all know each other. There's this, dynamic where I know what you have, like what we're going to relieve for you.
You know where each other live if you got to kill each other.
That's also true.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's, things like this can destroy relationships and friendships, right? And same thing with contractors. You go into business with somebody, it changes the dynamic drastically a lot of times.
Sounds like he's willing to risk the friendship.
But only if both parties come to the table and they do exactly what they say they're going to do. That is the whole thing out of all this. So I think when the rubber meets the road on this and you have somebody that you're in a relationship with, family member, all of that, if you can execute on what you both agreed upon, then things can go well. I think those are the few cases when that actually can turn out the way it's supposed to.
There's always an expectation that people are going to do what they said they're going to do.
Yes.
And where things turn sour is when someone says they're going to do something and they don't do it. And that happens so much in the business world. You expect people to do the right thing and what they say they're going to do. And where things turn sour, where there's lawsuits, where there's issues, where there's disagreements, loss of friendships, partnerships, is when someone makes a promise and they don't fulfill it.
That's why reputation matters so much.
100%.
Because especially when we're in a city of 1 million, right? I mean, we're all in the same area. I mean, you screw somebody here and it is going to get around very fast.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing in larger cities, it's not, it's the same thing, especially if you're part of the, investor community.
For sure.
That your reputation means more than anything else in the world.
I think it all boils down to like, what are you actually willing to do as a person of integrity when it comes to doing business with somebody that like, and trust, and they have the reciprocated relationship with you? What are you willing to do to make that right for what you agreed upon? And that, I think, is what it boils down to. So if you can just 6 months after the fact, after you agree upon a contract, and then you're trying to revisit it and remember all the details that you talked about 6 months ago, that doesn't work. You need to go off the spirit of the agreement as opposed to the letter of the law sometimes. And this, I may get some hate for this, but that's a fact. If you want to maintain relationships with people, you do what you say you're going to do, even if it's to the point where people are like, I don't know that we said exactly that. Yeah. Like, you can find an agreement and have it be a win-win on both sides.
Agreed.
And so that's kind of the message here. And I think this was we haven't had many of these situations where we've had people on the pod where we've actually done deals together and still been willing to come back. Mostly on Ted's side.
Ashley didn't want to come. I had to talk her into it.
Colin's been on multiple times. What are you talking about?
That's true.
I was too busy selling real estate.
Anyway, to finalize this long-winded description of this whole thing, Ryan, like you mentioned, he and I bought your shares in the business, and that came with 3 properties. So the land, the apartments, and then 1 single family house. That you can have that back if you want it. They're laughing at me right now. We just got a notice.
We're laughing with you.
Yeah,
you love flips.
We got a notice from the city about picking up trash around the property. So
at least one notice. I think more like closer to 3. Over under.
Well, they like him more than they like you. So
for you, no, he's forwarding me the notices.
Your 1 notice is 3 notices.
So anyway, it was, but I do want to highlight on the side of the buyer. So in the situation we talked about, obviously everything you guys were going through, the decisions involved, what you thought you were getting, what you actually got, and then, kind of like the endless amount of money that was going out the door to fix these problems you didn't anticipate. And, I went into this with my eyes open. Now I'm taking on, boiler replacement. I wasn't expecting that.
Yep.
Chiller I was. Whole bunch of unit remodels. And now the after effect of this is, so when you have a property like this where maybe it's starting to be run down, people aren't doing a good job managing it, you have people that are less desirable tenants living there. When you come into a property like that, generally you have to take the lens of, okay, this is going to be a couple-year project. So it's going to take a while to get the units remodeled, to get better tenants in,
Actually,
to
Jay
cycle through.
Actually, Jay said this was 3 to 6 months.
I said 6 to 8 weeks to begin with.
6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, he did. It was 6 to 8
Just
weeks.
like that.
68 weeks. I think
I knew better.
68
I
weeks.
knew
Okay,
better.
I'm sorry.
So you start remodeling units, and here's what happens. So a lot of times you start improving the property, and then tenants get like kind of skittish, or they find out, hey, what's going on over here? Can I move into that unit? It looks a lot nicer. And then as soon as they leave, now you have to remodel their unit for $12,000 to $15,000.
You talked about this specifically a couple weeks ago.
And then so it's kind of a chain reaction with all of that. But so we're kind of dealing with that aspect of it. But I will also say I do want to give credit, not that he ever listens to anything like this, but Ryan is a killer when it comes to like remodeling, and like he's got a crew, and they're just badasses.
You should have him on here sometime.
I would love to.
Yeah, I'll talk. I talked. We saw him this morning.
Okay, all right, get him talked into it. But anyway, great deal. It's not a great deal for you guys, and it was more than I wanted to pay, but we got some favorable financing. We got some seller carries involved. It was definitely a creative finance deal. If I was going to buy this off the shelf with all of the CapEx involved and all the repairs, I would have to put a crap ton more down than what I had to put down on it. And so I was able to buy an LLC for, at the time, what was it, $125,000?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I got a $3.4 million strike price asset plus the land. Had to put a little bit more down for that, but I had a couple of seller carry notes in there. I got to assume some bank financing. Mm-hmm. So anybody that tells you guys out there listening to this that you can't get creative deals done now, or banks are hard to work with or whatever, they're not. You're just not looking at enough, or you're not looking at the right ones. So these deals are happening all the time, and
but these deals come with connections and networking.
Great point.
You don't get these on the market. You get these
For sure.
showing up and knowing people, right?
Imagine trying to negotiate all of this mess through a realtor. No offense to realtors out there.
Yeah.
But like it gets lost in translation. So you have to have that.
Ashley and I would have gotten this covered.
I don't know about that on your side mostly. But I think you have to have that connection. If you want to get the best deals are done off market, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I can back it up one note, I bought Sherwood Plaza. So the commercial property I own, I bought that LLC also.
Oh, really?
The one other huge benefit of doing that is it doesn't go through the recorder. So if you're buying something and say it's assessed at 1.5 and you're buying it for 3.5, you're buying an LLC, the recorder doesn't get any wind of it. So if you're trying to save like the property from being reassessed for $2 million higher, you buy the LLC. So there's huge benefit to doing it if it's underassessed right now.
So should every commercial owner listening right now have each property individually licensed under an LLC?
You can transfer to another LLC pretty easily. You can quick claim and deed it over to a different LLC as well. I mean, you have bank loans. If there's a loan on it, there's bank loans associated with it. But there's creative ways to make that happen so that the property doesn't get reassessed and run through the county and just pay a whole bunch more taxes for no reason.
Great tip.
Man, these listeners are really learning a lot from this podcast.
Right?
If they made it this far.
You're welcome.
What do you guys call
they
that?
made it. They made it. They're all in.
So
they're
what
not
do you
drinking
guys
whiskey.
say?
What's that?
What did you guys say just a little bit ago all together?
That's today's
The golden
today's
golden nugget.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you, Jay, for
Thanks
that
by
golden
Jay
nugget.
Kathol and Ashley Wells.
Stay tuned for part 2.